Welcome to the Informed Pregnancy and Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Elliot Berlin, here with today's co-host, chiropractor, doula, wife and mother, Kristen Palacey. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
All graduated now?
Yes.
Does it feel different?
Yes.
It does.
It feels good.
I still wake up sometimes thinking, oh my God, I have to study for the test. I didn't study. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, that was 20 years ago. Today we're going to be talking about postnatal fitness with a renowned expert. In addition to earning a degree in kinesiology, a minor in dance, and her master's degree in corporate fitness. That's right, we have nothing in common. It's true. Today's guest holds advanced certifications in yoga, personal training, pre- and postnatal fitness, and group fitness, and has been teaching health and wellness for over 20 years. Her inspiring and unique classes have been featured on networks such as ABC, NBC, Fox, Univision, Hallmark, and Lifetime. Desi Bartlett, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So nice to meet you in person.
Great to meet you, finally.
We were talking earlier about so many clients we have in common, and they rave about you and your classes.
Likewise.
And I already feel like I should work out just sitting across from you. So whatever it is, you have some kind of magic.
I love it.
There are a million things we can talk to you about. Today we want to zero in on postnatal fitness. Mm-hmm. And in the first portion of the podcast, talk about things you can do during pregnancy to sort of set yourself up for a good postnatal transition from a physical fitness perspective. And then in the second portion to talk more about, once you've had the baby, how you can start to go about getting your body back.
Wonderful.
So let's talk about fitness during pregnancy. I mean, sometimes I see, in terms of weight gain alone, a giant variation. There are women who are very healthy and gain 20 pounds, and women who will also kind of eat well and still exercise and gain 60 or 65 pounds. Mm-hmm. Are there certain things that you can do during pregnancy to affect that? And to what extent do we care? Meaning, if you're eating healthy and you end up gaining 40 or 50 pounds, is that terrible?
No, it's not terrible. It really depends on your body and your structure, and are you carrying one baby? Are you carrying multiples, et cetera? What I look at very often is what's your lifestyle, and are you eating in a healthy way? And if you're eating in a healthy way that's not excessive, for example, then whatever weight your body needs to gain, it will gain. And if that's a little bit more than me, if that's 10 pounds more than me or 10 pounds less than me during my pregnancies, great. I'm not here to tell you should only gain 25 pounds. And it isn't only about weight. It's about posture and feeling good from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So when I'm looking at women, I want to talk to them and really find out, how are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you nauseous? Can we start an exercise program? And if we can, let's start in a really gentle way so that you feel empowered and you feel excited. And so usually after I find out the medical history and I know that they have the clearance from the doctor, then we get into the reasons why you might want to exercise. So we talk about the benefits. It is a little bit easier to lose the weight after you've had the baby if you exercise during
pregnancy.
Yeah, exactly. It's been associated with shorter labor and delivery.
I very rarely run into somebody who doesn't want that.
Yes, exactly. Easier recovery, especially pelvic floor recovery after you've had the baby, is a little bit easier if you've been doing your pelvic floor work throughout the pregnancy. And most recently, there's a lot of studies about, benefits to the baby as well. Anytime that you have those feel-good chemicals that are being produced by the body from exercise, that's being shared with the baby.
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Do you love to work out?
Yes.
Did you always love to work out?
No.
Did you used to hate to work out?
I never hated it. It just took a long time for me to completely fall in love with it.
How did that come to be?
Daily ritual and staying committed to it and making sure that no matter what, I did a little bit every single day. And every day I discover something new in it. So whether I'm going for a walk or I'm going to the gym or I'm going to yoga, there's always something to discover in the physical body that leads to more knowledge of the emotional body and the mental body. Mm-hmm. So if I'm in the gym and there's a really heavy weight and I'm trying to push and I'm like, really, why do I want to do this? And then I think about, I have a 50-pound toddler at home, so I've got some inspiration.
Right.
Now, can I take that physical strength and apply that to mental strength and and push through in other areas of my life as well. So I kind of take it beyond just the physical, and I use the physical vehicle and the exercise as a method to get strong on every level.
Wow. It's so much deeper than just lifting weight.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't realize that was possible. Because when I'm doing my Zumba,
Yes.
I don't really, that's not a sentence I should ever say. What did you do to work out during pregnancy? Because you're fitness oriented all your life.
Yeah, I swam.
Oh, swimming. You're a
nice.
swimmer.
I'm a swimmer. So
Yeah.
And your baby was swimming, so you got to swim
we
together.
were, yeah, it was really, really cool experience for me. And I tried going to the gym, but I'm just not a gym person. So I would like kind of that thing, like you were saying, how do I get myself there?
Right.
So I just swam because that's what I liked to do. And I did some yoga and walked a lot.
Those all sound really good and not too like crazy, things that anybody can do.
Well, and I was in school at the time, so it was what I could do to be in between class. There's a pool nearby, so I could walk, and then I could swim, and then I'd come back.
But chiropractic school is so challenging and demanding that it's probably really great to go for a swim and just clear your mind totally.
Yeah.
And then get back to memorizing every little point in an anatomical structure in the body.
Yes.
Okay, Desi, you mentioned nutrition. Do you do both with your clients?
I do a little bit of nutrition, but I really defer to the doctors and the midwives most of the time, especially now with such fantastic doulas around. I know that they have really, precise knowledge about all of the micronutrients and what's optimal for each individual client. What we used to say, like way back when, I'm sure you remember, is eating for two.
Yes.
And so what I like to bring in my classes is the idea of breathing for two.
Oh.
Or today I was working with twins, so I said, today you're breathing for three.
Wow.
Yes. So sipping in more oxygen, imagining that you're drinking in the oxygen and feeling that moving, through the cord across the placenta and oxygenating the babies.
I wish that this was not audio right now and that people can see the hand movements that you're doing, just the body movements that you're doing as you talk about it. It's really cool that now it's apparent to me that both with the movement of exercise and the pushing yourself through exercise and nutrition, you're having a much deeper full body experience with it all, mind and body experience with it all than I think I've ever had. I'm like, I've never eaten a donut and moved that way until I can feel it bringing life to my body.
Do you meditate?
I just started meditating more regularly. I used to do like little tidbits of meditation.
Yeah.
And now I do almost every day
Nice.
for somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes.
And have you ever done meditation in which you feel that creative energy moving from the base of the spine to the crown?
Yes.
That's what we invite in with the external physical movement. So I'll have women do things like circle the upper body, circle the hips, etc. But I wanted to get back to what you were talking about with swimming and walking and yoga. And very often women will ask me, what's the best type of exercise that I should do? And my answer is always, whether you're pregnant or not, the best type of exercise that you should do is the exercise that you will do.
Right.
So if you're in love with it, great.
That's interesting. We did an episode on car seats, and she said the best car seat for you is the one that's going to fit your car and that you're going to use right every time.
Exactly.
Which is different for different people. But I've not, 40-something years of searching around, I've not found the exercise that I will do. I got to keep searching.
It's there.
But it's not about me. I still haven't lost the baby weight. That's why I'm very excited about this episode.
I like also how it's an opportunity to help the mom connect with their baby. Because sometimes not all women, if it's your first one or, that's a hard time sometimes to have that first feeling of connection. So that's really interesting that you have them breathe and feel the baby and breathe for the baby. That's really interesting. That's the first time I've heard that.
That was how I started teaching this. So when I've been teaching movement forever, but during my first pregnancy, I would attend classes and I felt like Goldilocks. I couldn't find the right fit. Some classes were too intense, some classes were too easy. And there was one class in particular in which in 90 minutes, the instructor never said the word baby. And I felt like I was leaving him out. So I really wanted to be aware that when I teach that we talk about the baby being inside and send our love and send our blessings in the first couple minutes, because we want to respect that we have a roommate sharing this physical space.
It's a womate.
Yes, exactly.
So to speak, yeah. So during pregnancy, once she feels good, when she feels ready to exercise, are there specific exercises that are helpful for the pregnancy and for the birth? As you mentioned, some studies link a shorter labor and birth. And then specifically, if she's keeping in mind postnatal recovery, what are the things you can do during pregnancy to set yourself up for that?
So you don't necessarily have to have a very long window of exercise to have the benefits. So very often I'll encounter folks that think they have to work out for 60 to 90 minutes in order to have the benefits. And you can actually have wonderful benefits with smaller windows of exercise more than once a day. Oh. So I like to suggest maybe go for a walk for 10 minutes in the morning, because you're going to do that afterwards anyway. And then in the afternoon or the evening, then enjoy whatever your exercise regime is, or vice versa. So what that's called in the world of fitness is a 2 a day. And you get something called, it's EPOC, it's the afterglow. You have a extended window of caloric burn after you've worked out. So if I could get her
even
2 windows, even
workout?
a 10-minute window.
No kidding.
Yes. Yeah. So I like to split it up a little bit and really get her in the habit of walking, because, again, that's going to be something that's functional. Specifically, squatting is like my favorite.
Really? Why?
For labor and delivery. I find that women are told to do Kegels. They don't know how to do a Kegel. And when they come to me, all they're doing is they're contracting the PC muscle, and it's a very, very small movement. And as with any muscle group, if we move through a full range of motion, we're going to get strong at every angle. If we have a very small motion, we're only getting strong at the angles at which we work.
So you're saying the Kegel's built into the squat?
Exactly. If I can have her stretch her pelvic floor all the way down on the bottom of the squat and inhale, imagine it stretching like a flower blossoming. And on the exhale, rise, and then at the very top, feel that extra little lift, then I'm going to give her more strength.
I sweat hard when I'm doing squats.
Yeah.
It's like I don't realize that I'm recruiting that much muscle and working that hard.
Yes.
But even like after 12, 15 squats, I'm like,
For sure. Have you ever heard the term inner unit? It's kind of like an exercise nerd term.
No.
Okay. So the inner unit refers to the pelvic floor on the bottom.
Okay.
The transverse abdominis around the side and the front, deep belly muscles, multifidus in the back, and then diaphragm at the top. So there's like an inner cylinder. And we want all of these to work together in harmony. And the squat activates and recruits everything,
all of them,
which is why you're sweating.
Oh, no kidding. I have been trying to work out like 3 to 4 times a year.
A year, yeah.
I don't always meet my goal, but I'm trying. What you've said actually that's going to be great for me is already, and hopefully our listeners too, is about the 10-minute piece, because I'll frequently talk myself out of a workout because I'll think I don't have enough time to get a meaningful workout. I don't know why, but in my mind, the number 21 minutes has always been my minimum. Like if I can't do a 21-minute workout, it's just not worth it. I'll just eat more breakfast. So for 19 minutes.
It seems also if they're in a smaller time, then after the transition becomes, then they'll do those exercises like during pregnancy and then have more time to do it, or maybe easier to conceptualize doing it after a baby too. That's interesting.
I also love that you're talking about exercises anybody can do anywhere with no expense, like squatting,
absolutely.
walking. Swimming is a little more challenging. You got to get to a pool somehow.
That's true.
Sort of weather dependent, but
And yoga is becoming more and more accessible. You know, there's so many different on-demand programs. You can get it at a very reasonable cost online.
Do you have an on-demand program?
I do. I'm on Beachbody On Demand.
No kidding.
And I've got 6 prenatal workouts on there.
Wow.
And 2 postnatal. And I think it's like $9 a month. And that gives you access to everything on that channel, not just me. There's fitness and all kinds of wonderful
They
things.
just launched a big nutrition
Exactly,
program.
yes, they did.
Not that I've been keeping track of that, but it's. Do you have things for dads and partners too?
I do in-person workshops, but I don't have anything online yet for dads and partners. But very often with Mommy and Me, I'll have the mom say, can I bring my husband? And I realize more and more, or my wife these days, like I need to go beyond Mommy and Me. It needs to be family and me, because there's all kinds of different faces to family now, and I want to be more inclusive.
Right. Are there contraindications during pregnancy, specific contraindications to working out?
Yeah, there's a lot that a woman's doctor can advise her about if she's got, I never pronounce this right, perhaps you can help me, placenta previa?
Yeah, previa.
Okay. Yay. We need to be aware if there's high blood pressure, if she's high risk for any reason. They told me I was high risk with my first baby because of my age, and a very wise doctor said to me, you did not turn high risk the day after you turned 35, and you're already really healthy. So don't just go by the guidelines. Make sure that you're speaking to the woman as an individual.
Right.
But we do want to make sure that any kind of high-risk indication, previous loss of pregnancy, et cetera, that we take that into consideration, and perhaps she needs to work with someone one-on-one to keep her safe.
That's a good point, because you see people all the time who are 30 years old in terrible shape and we're worried about the health.
Right.
And people who are 45 years old and in great shape and not worried about the health. But that number is just a factor among many.
Exactly.
In the overall picture of health. Okay.
So if a woman wants to know if she's high risk or if there's specific factors that should prevent her from exercising for any reason, something that she can check out is ACOG, American Congress of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
Yeah.
There's a list of contraindications that include things like, heart condition, et cetera. So she can double check herself if she wants to know.
What about pushing, if you're healthy and feeling good, don't have contraindications, pushing yourself during pregnancy with your workouts? Sometimes people get motivated because it's a new chapter and they want to start, let's say, lifting weights and pushing their bodies harder. Are these things that you can help with during pregnancy?
So the general rule, and it's not a one-size-fits-all rule, but the general rule is if you weren't doing it before pregnancy, pregnancy is not the time to start, especially in terms of intensity. So let's say that you were just a walker. It's not time to go sprint, for example. But can she start to increase her strength a bit? Yes, for sure. We want to monitor things like her heart rate, make sure that she's not gasping for air. I'm going to look at her face and make sure that she can still have a comfortable conversation and she's not turning bright red. And in those safe conditions, can she start to increase her strength and the intensity a little bit? Yes. I'm very, very middle of the road and very balanced and like that Buddha, middle way when it comes to fitness, especially with pregnancy. I don't suggest that you lay on the couch for 9 months, nor do I suggest that you go, to boot camp. Find the middle way that works for you and your baby.
That sounds great. I love your approach.
Me too.
In so many levels. It's just different than what I'm used to. Like when you go into one of those muscle gyms and just pay a trainer to push you a little bit, they're never talking about the big picture. You have like this very holistic approach to physical fitness.
I grew up with yoga, and not necessarily asana. I grew up with meditation and mantra and this whole idea of being connected. And so if my physical vehicle is what's going to allow, my spirit to soar, then I got to keep this in shape so that I can let that rise. I
mean, it makes a lot of sense. And especially when your body's already strained in ways that you're not used to during a pregnancy, to go the extra mile to keep it fit and healthy.
Yeah.
Because I do see a lot of your clients actually who feel great at the end of pregnancy. And nobody believes me when I say that. I'll be like, hey, how you doing today? I feel great.
Yeah.
No kidding. Really? I feel bad about myself. Okay.
No. A lot of it, I think, though, has to do with posture. And a lot of what I teach is safe core work. And not everybody teaches that during pregnancy because it sounds scary. Like, how the heck are you going to work your core during pregnancy and keep that safe? But just the idea of working the core as a stabilizer so that As the belly pulls forward, as the baby starts to grow forward, and you get a more pronounced curve in your low back, that lordotic curve is putting pressure. If I can keep that low back super strong and maybe just take away, 2-3 degrees of that curve, then she's like, hey, I don't have any back pain anymore.
Exactly. And so sometimes people accomplish that with a artificial support band in the front, lifting things up, but it's obviously much better if you can do it from the inside out.
Exactly. We want to get that inner corset active.
The inner corset. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great term to take a little break on. And we can all ponder
think about our inner corset.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Desi Bartlett on the Informed Pregnancy Podcast. Lots of our pregnant patients say that they hope to breastfeed if it works. Breastfeeding is natural, but it can take some time to learn. To make it easier, I recommend learning breastfeeding basics during your pregnancy. Over 90% of new mothers report having at least one breastfeeding problem during the first few days of their baby's life. Most of these problems could have been avoided if the families had known the basics of breastfeeding and newborn care. Now there is an online course that will teach you the basics of breastfeeding and take you step by step through what you need to know. Learn from 2 registered nurses who are also international board-certified lactation consultants. They've helped over 20,000 new families get started with breastfeeding, and they want to help you too. The course includes 12 video modules done at your own pace, as well as downloadable guides and a community forum. Try it now with a no-risk guarantee. If you're not satisfied, all you have to do is write within the first 30 days to get a full refund. Check out this essential breastfeeding course right now by visiting informedpregnancy.com/workshops and clicking on Simply Breastfeeding. Visit informedpregnancy.com/workshops and click on Simply Breastfeeding. Welcome back to the Informed Pregnancy and Parenting Podcast. We are continuing our discussion of postnatal fitness and inner corsets with Desi Bartlett. All right, so now we've had the baby, and of course there's a million different ways the baby could arrive. Sometimes at home, at a hospital, vaginally, unmedicated, medicated, cesarean, or abdominal birth. And, it seems overwhelming in a lot of different ways. There's a big learning curve on everything from how to feed the baby, how to change the baby, care for the baby, what the cries mean, sleep. And then at some point, you're going to want to start to get your body back in shape as well. So when and how does someone start to approach that?
I like the idea of starting with deep breathing and activating the inner corset.
Yes.
Activating the idea of, inhaling and finding expansion and then exhaling and drawing everything in towards the midline. And if you can just start to breathe the first few days and just kind of wake up those muscles a little bit, we don't want to push them in any way. And in fact, if you get too, for lack of a better word, frisky with exercise too fast, then it can cause some problems. So I want her to ease back into it. Next, walking. I love walking. We all do it anyway. And wearing your baby if you can. God doesn't hand you a 50-pound baby. You have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-pound baby, whatever. And then as the baby grows, there is an adaptation response. And as baby puts on weight, we get stronger and stronger. So if we continue to hold that baby and walk with the baby on us, we're going to get stronger and stronger, and the resistance is going up each week.
It's funny that you said that, because as a dad, my kids, when they get a little bit older, like a year or so, they love when I bench press them.
Yeah, for sure. My husband does that.
Every couple of weeks, they're heavier. And it's just like, hey, what's this?
Strong.
Look at this pec muscle starting to
sure.
pop out. Where'd that come from? So they're perfect. I mean, then when they get too heavy, you just have another one, right?
And start over, yes.
Start over. It's a different muscle group. Now I'm leg pressing.
I teach an outdoor class, and it's kind of cute because there's a gentleman who's a trainer who's next to me, and he's working out with a guy, and he's got a medicine ball. And then I'm over on the other side of the park with my ladies with their babies. And this guy is grunting and sweating and squatting and lunging with his medicine ball. And this medicine ball is 15 pounds. And I just point out to the mommies, I'm like, okay, look over there. Now, how much does your baby weigh? So they're very, very strong, and it's done in such a pleasant way because you're bonding with your baby. You know, if you're squatting your baby and then pressing them up into the air and going, then they're like laughing and smiling, and it's such a good feeling.
That's the problem. The medicine ball never has that kind of reaction.
It doesn't, you know?
It's dead weight.
You can have an invention.
I love that you also started talking about the breathing from day one, because it's an emotional transition for many women, and that kind of breathing and meditation kind of signals to your body. You get all the mind-body benefits of that, in addition to just exercising the muscles a little.
Yeah.
Starting to release the endorphins and the enkephalins, and probably combating some of the blues that you would naturally feel at that time.
Very much so. And posture, again, can help with that. If we do something as simple as take the arms overhead and take a great big breath in, it takes us out of this like hunched over, oh goodness, I'm so overwhelmed posture, where we're kind of caving and collapsing into ourselves. So something as simple as a great big good morning stretch and lifting up and looking to the sky and maybe saying, oh my goodness, yay, I just had a baby, thank you. That it just lifts our spirits.
So during pregnancy, from a chiropractic perspective, we see a lot of low back, hip, pelvic, sciatic, and then after the baby comes, it kind of moves its way up to middle back, upper back, neck. We call it mommy neck
arm.
and mommy back and mommy arm.
Yeah.
But everything is just down, feeding, changing, bathing, dressing. It's all like hunched over and down with a weight.
Yeah, I call that baby adoring pose.
Baby adoring pose.
Yes. And so
That's really cute.
what I teach my mommies is to have an external cue, and it can be something as simple as your phone ringing or a car horn honking. And every time you hear that external cue, sit up tall. Draw your shoulder blades together.
I should probably do that too.
I just got
I just adjusted myself.
me too.
Thanks, Desi.
Sure.
Are there different recommendations for somebody after a vaginal birth versus a cesarean birth?
Yes, cesarean usually takes a couple of weeks in addition to the 4 weeks. At 4 weeks, we're checked. We go see the OBGYN or the midwife, and they let us know that everything is healing as it should be or not. They may or may not give us exercise clearance at that point. And cesarean is usually a couple weeks longer of healing time because it's major abdominal surgery. So we want to make sure that everyone is healed in the way that they should be. Once the woman returns to exercise, there's help me again with pronunciation, is it lochia, the blood? There's a bit of blood that is released by the body, and if you see that the blood is getting thicker in flow or darker, you've exercised too much.
Oh. That's an interesting marker to be aware of, to look out for. But even in terms of the recovery, the type of trauma, for lack of a better word, is different from the two different modes of birth. So,
oh, yeah, for sure. So I have women who jump back into class and they say, I want to get my abs back, but they just had a cesarean and there's numbness and they can't even feel what's happening. So the first thing that I need to do is go dig in there, for lack of a better word, and check, is there separation? Is there diastasis, tomato?
Has the rectus abdominis separated at all?
Yes.
The right and left.
Yeah. So the way that I explain that to the mamas is if you are laying down and you see a little bit of tenting in the abs, then you probably need to be checked.
And then, so do you have a repair protocol for bringing that separation back together?
On Beachbody.
You do on Beachbody?
I do. There's a diastasis workout on there so that you can start to feel that inner corset. I think we need to market that, don't we?
Inner corset, yeah.
It's good.
And
billboards.
And start to have that feeling of everything coming back together. And so the way that I explain it to mommies is like feel your ear and the cartilage in your ear. And that's typically what the connective tissue in the abs feels like. It's called an aponeurosis. That's typically what it feels like. If you have the separation, it feels more like the skin in your cheek.
Oh.
Like mushy.
I think I have the separation.
You could. Anyone could have one.
Mushy.
And then we measure with fingers how many fingers width there is, etc. But to your point, men can also have it,
Diastasis, yeah.
as can babies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They're all born with them.
They're all born with them, and they start to close. And if they don't close within, I think it's the first 6 months, then sometimes they have it until it's treated
Till
later.
they get a beach body. beach baby.
Yes. Beach baby?
Beach baby.
Beach baby.
Yeah. Are there specific exercises that to avoid in the post for everybody that's just not a good idea?
Yeah, again, I don't let them get too frisky with deep abdominal work in the sense that they're using full range of motion with the legs extended. So if you're laying down flat on your back and then you take your legs to the sky and you do leg lifts, it's simple physics. The longer the lever, the more work there is.
I see.
So if I put that much of a load on them right off the bat, they're going to say like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get my abs back so fast. No!
Well, they'll probably end up in our office.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to create an imbalance where we might increase a separation if there's already a separation there. Please go to someone who is educated in this so that you can start off with smaller, more mindful movements and bring everything back to the midline in a more integrated way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because you started with very basic breathing, but powerful basic breathing, and then walking. Is there a step after that?
Yeah, so during the walking, you can start to put the breathing and the walking together. On your inhalation, feel the expansion. On the exhalation, feel the corset. Wear the baby. Yeah. And now you've got your 15-pound baby on you, so that would be the next step. After that, I like to exercise with the baby. We do squats and into shoulder presses with baby. We do lunges holding babies.
I mean, the baby's literally your
weight.
Your weight.
Yeah.
I love that about you, that you have that. Because in addition to other things, it's like, when do you find time to work out since you're always taking care of the baby? But this is something you can sort of do together.
You can do it together, and it can get really expensive really fast to pay the babysitter and the personal trainer and take time off work. So put those 3 numbers together. It's pricey. So if you can do it with your baby. I have a little pet peeve. I hate it when people say, exercise when your baby naps. Really? No, nap when your baby naps.
Right.
Get it in if you can.
You're not going to get
possible.
much sleep, and without sleep,
Right.
it's hard to exercise as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's true.
Did you get back to swimming? You have to wait a little while for that anyway.
I have worked out 0.
Oh, since the baby came?
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, that's not true. I've done
welcome
squatting.
to my club.
I mean,
I've been breathing
a friend came
since
over.
you had your baby.
I have been breathing.
Yeah.
Me too. That's about it.
So step 1,
I breathe.
we're there.
Well, and I walk now. Like, I take walks, but to me that doesn't feel like exercise.
But it
I
is
guess.
exercise.
I know,
is.
but it doesn't feel
That's
like.
step 2.
It's not like what I'm used to doing. I
Because
guess.
you're sort of athletic
Yeah.
before you had the baby.
Right. So that's what I was like, that mental thing, right? I forget that is exercise. But
Yeah.
And I squat with him because I have to nap.
To nap,
Yeah,
yes.
he was a squatter.
Okay.
Napper.
Yes, yeah.
Squatter napper.
A squatter napper.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get him to nap unless I squatted. And because my one friend came like close after he was born and did it.
Yeah.
And then after that, he would never nap. So I would always like silently
it.
speak her name. You have cursed me. I would always squat. But I guess I should thank her.
Well, squatter napping is better than the adoring pose,
Yes,
adoring baby pose.
that's true.
Definitely.
I sometimes have our patients put a mirror in front of the breastfeeding station so that they can see what's happening without, hunching forward.
Oh, that's smart.
to look.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's not great for business because then they feel better.
But then they feel better.
But they feel better, so.
When I have women who nurse in class, I ask them to sit up tall like a queen,
Oh, that's cool.
and that kind of helps. And draw the baby to breast instead of breast to baby.
That's also helpful.
Yeah.
Vision. So when you get more advanced than that, I mean, when the babies do
Yeah.
get bigger, right, then
Yeah.
and you're getting more sleep, and it's time to work out without the baby. What are the next steps after that?
Jump back into whatever it is you love, whether it's swimming or running or yoga. Again, the best exercise that you can do is the exercise that you will do. So if there's something that's already, kind of ignited your passion in terms of movement, great. If you haven't found it yet, then what's the best way to say this? If you want to exercise and you want to stick with it, get a partner. That's the single most important factor in exercise adherence. I got it out. Yes. So if we are accountable to someone else, then we're more likely to do it. And very often, mamas, we put ourselves last on the list. And, I was supposed to exercise today. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But if we know that, my friend Kristen's waiting for me at the gym, I'm going to go.
It's the guilty factor.
Yes. I need to get guilty, I think. And it's true, though, because especially after, my son still doesn't sleep more than 5 hours, block at night. And I think that sleep deprivation was the hardest for me personally.
Yeah.
So how do you help them want to exercise when they don't get sleep?
There are going to be days when you have to let yourself off the hook and just take it easy and maybe just take a walk around the block with your baby. I think if I remember correctly, you need at least 5 hours of continuous sleep in order to have REM.
Yeah.
And so if we don't have that, the body doesn't feel revived in any way, shape, or form. There's a beautiful form of meditation called Yoga Nidra. It's yogic sleep, and it lasts about 20 minutes, and it leaves you feeling rejuvenated.
How do you spell that?
Nidra. There's many forms of it on YouTube. If you just put in Yoga Nidra, you can find lots of people guiding that.
So you're not moving?
No. It's a very, very deep awareness. You're still awake, but it's basically like guided meditation. So let me just take you through. Close your eyes. Slow your breath down. Bring your awareness to your heart. And we would go on like that for 20 minutes. So imagine how good
stopped.
you feel, right?
I already feel relaxed.
And boom.
That was in 5 seconds you grabbed me.
Right? Me too. She needs to make some Yoga Nidra.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. So that would help with that. Because I don't think I've gotten more than 5 hours of sleep in a year and 3 months.
Yeah.
Because you have a minor in dance. First of all, do you have a particular genre of dance that you like?
I love myself some Zumba. I cannot lie. I lived in Mexico for 5 years. I do love Latin dance, and way back in the day, I did 2 Latin dance DVDs. But I love to dance with babies.
I used to be a big dancer.
Really?
Well, I've only danced twice, but I felt big both times.
Well,
it was powerful.
They have that kind of thing. I think it's in Brazil and other places called dancing the baby out. Have you seen that?
I've seen that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I do remember both times I danced. That wasn't just a joke. It was my wife's birthday. She wanted to do ballroom dancing, so we did salsa, which up until then I always thought you ate. And we did a private salsa lesson, and
nice.
I have not even 2 left feet. I have a left foot and somebody else's left foot. It's really, I'm not built to dance. But it was so fun to do it with her when I wasn't stepping on her feet and making her scream. And I was sweating like a pig when it was over, just from an hour of going through those moves. Woke up in the morning, couldn't remember the first step. But it was sort of fun-ish, and I was very sore in the morning. Second time, I did this crazy juice fast for 120 days.
Oh, wow.
And I lost 110 pounds, and I thought, now that I can see my toes, I should start moving them a little. And we went just at the gym, to a hip-hop class. I'm like, that looks fun. And they were just like, yeah, follow along, do the moves. And I was doing them, but then I caught myself in the mirror. And I never felt so milky white in my whole life. I was just not moving the way I was in my head and not the way anybody else around me was moving. So then I decided to not do hip hop anymore.
So sometimes, well, let me start with prenatal, and then I'll get back to Latin dance in just a second. In prenatal, I'll very often have the mamas bring one hand to their heart and one hand to their baby. Close your eyes and dance with your baby. Envision the baby inside of you dancing, or perhaps if you know that you're having a boy, or a girl even, you envision yourself having that first dance at their wedding. There's
That's
different
cute.
ways to make it very sweet. And then after you've had the baby, if dance is something that appeals to you, again, I like to dance with the baby. You can wear the baby and dance and have a dance party, and they love it.
That's probably so good for the baby.
It's so good for the baby. For the
Too.
younger babies, you usually wind up putting them to sleep because there's so much movement, and it's similar to that rocking that they felt when you were walking when you were pregnant. So it's like that cradle that kind of lulls them to sleep if you're dancing a lot, which is fun.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you can get in a little bit of salsa or Latin dance, it's going to get your waist back really fast because it's every time you move your hips, it's like a side crunch.
And you have DVDs on Latin dance?
Yeah, I did.
Nothing to do with pregnancy?
No.
Just Latin. For exercise?
Yeah.
Really?
It's hard.
No,
These-
yeah, but I
those
do it at
things.
home with my wife and nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fun to do at home.
fun.
Yeah, for sure. And you can do it. You can do it with your wife. You can do it with your kids. Super fun.
Dance
Well,
party.
my kids actually, my kids can dance.
I love
My
it.
girls especially. I shouldn't say my girls. My kids can move.
Yeah.
Yeah. My 9-year-old, currently 9-year-old, is just so beautiful on her feet. She moves like
Nice.
in incredible ways,
I have a 9-year-old also.
just naturally. Hey, we get together and do a play date.
Yay.
Dance.
Dance
Party.
And then, so that was, so you're saying postnatally you can actually dance with the baby.
Yeah, you can dance wearing the baby. You can dance holding the baby. You can dance if the baby's just watching you. It fills their face with delight.
That's so fun.
You have a degree in kinesiology.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use that in everything that you do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you talk a little bit about kinesiology and what it is? And
It's not the muscle testing. It's not the same that you sometimes encounter in different types of healing in different offices. What I learned
that's applied kinesiology.
Yes, exactly. So I went very deep into biomechanics and exercise science, and my professor just really led us through every range of motion possible. So let's say I want to lift my arm up in front of me from 0 to 45 degrees. What muscles are active from 45 to 90? Are they different, et cetera? And whenever I'm in a yoga class or a fitness class or with a private client, I'm looking at the range of motion to see what's active and what might be asleep. And very often there are muscles that are just kind of like hanging out, a little bit lazy maybe. And so I like to educate them, the function of the bicep is to bend the elbow. And then they're like, oh, and just make it come to life. Because otherwise, if I'm just speaking Latin, like, who cares?
But also with that kind of understanding, you can create balance. So if you know which muscles flex a particular joint and which extend it, then you can see if one muscle is stronger than the opposing muscle, that you have imbalance and more likely to create an injury.
Absolutely. And that's where we get into posture all the time, because obviously during pregnancy, the abdominal wall is going to be stretched forward. The low back will be compressed.
Right.
Normally, if the woman was not pregnant, I'm going to have her do crunches and strengthen everything in front. But I can't during pregnancy. So in my mind, I have to go back to my education and how can I strengthen the abdominal wall in different ways and educate her and empower her so that she feels great throughout pregnancy and beyond.
Oh, that's really great. You have such a depth on so many levels, the scientific side of kinesiology, the mind-body side of yoga, which is obviously a strong foundation of your background. And it's really refreshing to talk to you because normally I hate talking to fitness professionals. I mean,
Do we sound like cheerleaders? You can do it.
well, there's a little bit of that, and it's just like you love it, and I've never found anything about it that I can, except for feeling better, right, when it's all said and done. I've never found anything about it that I can like sink my teeth into to enjoy the actual workout. All of my workouts are how can I distract my mind from the fact that I'm working out, Netflix has been very helpful, but
Okay. You watch movies while you...
yeah, I watch some sort of drama, even if it's terrible, just to like get lost in it and then be like, oh, good, 9 minutes went by. Or, just how do I get through my next 9 minutes? Otherwise, every second feels like an hour.
What's your favorite thing in life? Activity
Wife
or
and kids?
your kids and
My
wife?
and
Yeah.
kids, yeah.
Would you exercise with them?
So sometimes I do, but I'm so out of shape compared to them that it's not, it's hard to exercise with them. We like to go hiking together.
That's perfect. Yeah.
But we don't get to do it very often. So that's something I like to do because it's with them. We go to the beach and ride up and down the beach together. Those things with the family are the best.
Nice.
But what I'm tapping into from you is go beyond the I have to do this, to stay healthy so I don't have a heart attack or a stroke and die. It's like enjoy it. Feel what it's doing to you in the moment. I don't know why nobody's ever said that in a way that made me feel like it's possible. But what our audience at home can't see is the way you move as you're talking about it and the way you feel deeply inside you. The passion for what you're talking about. It's very cool.
Thank you for saying that and saying that. Yes, that's what I'm all about. It's about the outer expression of internal joy. Mm-hmm. I want to move because I feel good, and I feel good because I want to move. So it becomes a winning cycle.
I'm going to tap into that. And I first of all hope you come back because we have so many other things that we can talk to you about and that you can share.
I would love that.
But hopefully we'll see. I'm going to start, like I said, I've been meditating much more this over the past few months even. And I feel so good just even meditating. Like it's sort of like yoga nidra.
Yeah.
Where I'm just laying in bed sometimes. I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I used to then be like, let's just get on your phone, do some email, get some work done. Now I just sit there and meditate for 20 minutes and I feel amazing and then fall asleep.
Oh, fantastic. So if you're open to it, you can also try walking meditation, perhaps on the beach. And just with each step, if there's a mantra that just feels really good inside of you, you can work with that. It could be something as simple as peace. Mm-hmm. And so every time you take a step, peace, peace, and just stick with it and walk the meditation. And then it feels like, instead of like.
Mm-hmm. And just knowing our patients postnatally, a lot of them are kind of like me in this way where they want to work out, but really can't imagine working out.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of step, like the breathing and the walking, then moving the walking together with the breathing and maybe baby wearing.
And having a friend.
And
get the appointment.
Yeah. Well, I do have a lot of friends on Facebook. All right. Desi, where can we find you online? I know you said you're on Beachbody, the subscription service. What else? Where are you?
Yeah, I've got 2 separate websites. The website for mommies is called mothersinTolivingfit.com. And the website for everybody else, so if dads or people who are not mommies yet, it's DesiBartlett.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wealth of not just knowledge, but passion with me and with our audience. And Kristen, thanks for being here as well, as usual. At home, thanks for listening to the Informed Pregnancy Podcast. If you like our program, share us with your friends, rate us, and leave a comment in your podcast app. Be sure to visit us online for lots more pregnancy and parenting media at informedpregnancy.com.